All right, thanks for joining me. If you were in my live Zoom, we drew that unmanned helicopter drone, which is the first flying thing we've put on Mars. And I'm really excited about what's going on the planet of Mars right now. We got a rover up there, like a remote control car. And I want to draw that now. So check it out. First thing we need to do is we need to put some land out there, and I love those Martian plateaus that kind of come up like our desert. And I'll just give myself 3 of those. They get smaller and smaller as they go. Now, rover. 1 wheel. 2 wheel. 3 wheels. All right. They're all circles and circles within circles. All right. 3 circles. And if you want to get fancy, you can kind of color in those outer 2. And those help kind of cover up the land and some of the stuff that's interfering. The rest of the wheels are kind of see-through. You don't have to color the whole thing in. And we come around like this. And 1 more. Circle within a circle. And I really got skinny there. But fortunately, since we're coloring them in, I can just go back over, redraw those lines, and then kind of cover up my little miscue by drawing all my dark pencil marks inside there. And I have 3 circles. I'm going to put a deck right here. And the deck is a big rectangle. And I'm going to erase any of the lines that are in the middle of that, like my mountain plateau right there, my Martian plateau. Okay? You can see that mine's at a little bit of an angle. You don't need to worry about that. It's because this wheel's going up. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a circle right here. And I'm going to draw a line up here to that circle, down to that hub, and same thing over here. And as soon as I get my double lines done, I just scribble color those in. And when I say scribble color, I'm just not being that careful, but I'm also not being super sloppy. I want to be thorough with my coloring. Every chance is a chance to get better in practice. And then a circle right here. And you can't even see this one. It's kind of hiding behind there. And that's going to come down to our middle wheel. Okay? And I'm going to color that one in. And you guys have a rover deck with 3 wheels and all the moving parts to make it roll. So, next, we've got a little deck on top of the deck. It's just like a little rectangle. We got a lot of rectangles to do, people. You better not be tired of rectangles yet. I bring it up like this. And you can see it comes out a little bit on each side. All right. Let's get to some good stuff. This is one of my favorite parts right here. We are going to start right in the middle of our deck with a rectangle. I want to call this the sky cam, but I'm not sure if that's the right name. Another rectangle, but this one is vertical, so it's going straight up. And it's big and wide because I have one that's smaller inside that. And one that's even smaller than that. All right, so I got my 3 vertical rectangles. 1, 2, 3, sitting on my horizontal rectangle, sitting on my horizontal rectangle, sitting on my rectangle. At this point, what do we have more of, circles or rectangles? count 11 circles. I count like 9 rectangles, but none of this matters. So let's move. Come on. Right up top. More rectangles, more circles. Camera. Double lens. I kind of make it a little cartoony like Wall-E. All right. And over here, half circle, little circle inside. Two lines form kind of a rectangle with another circle, circle inside. Now we're starting to go out past the deck a little bit, or I'm getting in line, but I'll go past the deck with my next two. Okay, so we're just doing circles within circles, and then our little rectangle boom arms. We call this a boom. All right, now it's time for Sherlock and Watson, named after the great detectives. Watson is the tiny little camera, and Sherlock is the drill. I think it also not only drills, but it's actually going to take samples. So it's going to pull out a little core. They say it's about like a piece of chalk that's going to come out of there. And those are going to be the samples that they look at. Anytime I'm doing mechanical stuff, I like to add lots of circles that look like bolts. And it just jazzes the whole thing up a little bit. And the details really start to be the thing that makes it look more realistic. So you can see I'm just putting dots here. And I try to space them evenly. I could add some tread to my tires if I wanted. That's a pretty pro move. Because nobody needs to slip and slide around Mars. I mean, what if you actually found ice and then you forgot to tread your tires, so you couldn't report that back because you slipped on the ice and got stuck, right? I don't know, but if it's possible and we can avoid it with a little tread, let's do it, all right? So I've got this. The other thing that I feel like just makes my drawings, when I'm going for details and I'm doing mechanical stuff, is doodads. And they're a type of detail, and I'm going to show you how to do the doodads now. Check this out. A lot of doodads are made out of rectangles, and they have bolts. We have a rectangle, and a rectangle, and a circle. And then we might do some diagonal lines, and all of a sudden we have a little detail. It makes it look a little better, all right? Over here. More rectangles. Might just repeat that pattern over there and make that look cool. More bolts. Maybe an antenna. All right. Now we do have a power source on the back that we did not draw, but it's going to be right here. And if we're going to do it, we got a little erasing to do. Comes up like this, and it's a rectangle that's at an angle. All right. It's got a little thing up there, and then it's got lines on it. And this is looking like our Rover. Now, we talked about adding little bolts and circles for details, and that always makes it look good. But there's another thing that makes it look good, and that's just a little simple shading. I'm not talking about sketchy shading, but just some lines, and I go from little to bigger to bigger to bigger to smaller. You see that? It's like a little triangle there of lines, and they just go from small to big and big to small. And I might do those here. And look at all the places I can find to do those. All right? And those help to add a little detail. And when we add detail, we add interest. And when we add interest, people look at our drawings a little more than they used to. So good luck with this one. I know it's a 10-minute video, but I hope you draw it and share it with me.